That wind's been horrible, hasn't it?
Yes.
Man.
I never did see what the dimensions would
It
be.
doesn't matter, I just can change the labels, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
Yeah, those are all mine.
It's recycled.
Oh, yeah.
It's good.
Looks to me like the narrow part.
It is. I think your greenhouse furniture now.
Oh, gosh, it's so fine.
It works good.
You know what, it's like 4 degrees. I did two stuff out of here.
Yeah, well,
And then in the summertime.
we positioned it, yeah, scientifically.
So how you doing? Big ones, are you gonna do that? Are you? Yeah.
It's it's 130 by 268 feet.
Okay.
I just
But
had
it's
to get my
kind of high shaped.
And the lots are small, they're like 25.
They're
but-
25 feet.
I'm down here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what they were going to do
Oh,
is
yeah, I see.
combine
See my name.
two lots to make it 50 feet.
Oh, really?
And I need to get my part fixed,
So they need
but
the
I thought it was
setback
April 30th,
requirements.
well, I had my note. And, my
So-
little note said April 30th or June 30th.
They're talking about
So I called to
double
verify
wides
that I was taking it
is
in
gonna
on
have to
Friday.
have
Yeah.
two lots.
Yeah.
And then
So
it's
she
still
looked
gonna
it
be
up, and
crowded.
she said
Yes.
June 30th.
Oh,
But I
I
can
agree
move
with
you up to
that.
June 7th.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
said,
It's,
okay.
and
there's
if I
only
get
5
it
water
sooner
tanks
than
there.
that, he goes, I get you
And
now.
they'll only-
But it
they'll
works,
only
right?
do
You can drive
five.
Yeah, well, no, my blue Corolla has been, I put you over here, Eugene.
How are you, Jane?
Hi,
Hi, Diane.
how are you
Hi,
guys?
Diane.
You know, I want to do this
You
shit.
can say hi this way, huh? Hi.
No, I don't do
Oh,
that.
you don't do that? Is it posted?
Don't do that very hard, you
If you don't
know.
want to shake my hand, that's okay.
Not bad.
You know, I've heard that by from a lot of people. They're going, not bad. Hi, how are you doing?
Well, all things considered.
I guess for a Monday, yeah.
For a Monday also.
Doctor, but he knows,
Now I can look at you better.
but he won't make it back.
I can see your eyes anyway.
I ordered them from Amazon. And it came some, this one.
And how are you out
some
there?
ones, Some dark brown, and gray. I see yellow, the gray, the pink, lavender, dark purple, black, white, dark brown, forest green, like a light gray, 10 different colors. They are, yeah. Like about 40 bucks.
All right, let's call this meeting to order. It's about 4:01 according to my watch. Maria, can we have a roll call, please?
Macro,
Present?
Joe Coca,
Present.
Mike Sweeney, he's excused. He called me about 3 p.m. that he wasn't gonna, he was still in Santa Fe. Dan Lindsay,
Here.
Eugene Romero,
Here.
Manny Varela.
Here.
Maria, let the minutes reflect that we have a quorum to carry on business. Now, if everybody would please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. The next thing we have to do is have an approval of the agenda, and each of you should have the agenda. There's only actually two things on the agenda. Is that right? The approval of the bylaws and regulations of procedure, and the continuation of the tabled project submitted by Alejandro and Sharon Rivera for a zone change. Anybody would like to approve the agenda as presented?
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Gene has stated that he would make the motion to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Manny Barella has seconded it. I don't believe we need a roll call on this. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The agenda is approved as presented. Before we get on with the business, the next house cleaning activity is the approval of the minutes of March 29th. It was in our packet. I only saw one error, grammatical error, and I'm not even going to mention it because it doesn't make that much difference.
Go ahead and mention it, I'll get them correct.
Oh, Maria, that's what I was saying. It's such a small issue, I even hate to bring it up.
That's okay. I've been looking at them and I've been finding.
On page 3 of 11,
Okay.
the third paragraph from the bottom, where it says, Mr. Eugene Romero asked again. And you said, were this people, and it should be were these people.
T-H-E, okay.
And that's really the only one I marked that I saw that was that important. And so, if you would make that correction, please, Maria.
Okay.
Thank you. Has everybody else had a chance to read the minutes? Diane has. Jane, have you?
Yes.
You ready? Mr. Coca? Okay.
Yes, I read.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
I'll make a motion that the minutes be approved as corrected.
Okay, Mr. Barella makes the motion to approve the minutes as corrected. Is there a second to this motion?
I second it.
Diane seconds it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very well. The minutes are approved as presented and corrected. All right. The next item is old business. And before I swear people in, on old business, the first thing is the continuation of tabled item, review and approval of Board of Adjustment, Planning and Zoning Commission bylaws and rules of procedure. Do we want to proceed on with that or whatever? I don't know if y'all have looked at it. I looked at it this morning or this afternoon, and I didn't see anything that was out of the ordinary or objectionable. I mean, it was pretty thorough, pretty standard, pretty fair. So do we want to get this issue off the table? Diane, would you make the motion then?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we have some new information, so I'm not sure what motion I want to make.
Information on what?
Are you talking about the,
We're
No, I'm
talking
just
about the
talking
bylaws.
about the
Oh.
review and approval of our bylaws and rules of procedure.
okay, so that's the one I was going to make. And we got a little note in our packet about, what it is called in Latin, about talking to people outside of the meetings. What was that called, Maria?
And I just put that in there for,
For our
for your
education.
clothes, because that way you guys know that if anybody, any of the applicants, or anybody that we sent a notice to tries to call you,
Right.
just tell them, I can't talk about it until the meeting. That's all I wanted to know.
I understand, and
And it's just something that I've been thinking about, because people, I know some of the customers, the people we send 100-footers, they ask me, well, I need the commissioner's phone numbers and addresses.
right,
And I got like 3 requests of that, and I did not give them your phone numbers,
right.
because of that. They can't be calling you between meetings and trying to tell you about this or about that to put pressure on you.
Right.
Because that's what it is, put pressure on you. They are not supposed to be contacting you, not the applicants, not the people that we send notices to, not the counselors. Nobody can be calling you and telling you, asking you, if you're going to vote or put pressure on you. That is illegal, and I heard that, I got that from the city attorney.
Right,
So I just put it in your note, just for a note for you guys.
so we.
So in case somebody tried to call you, tell them you can't talk to you.
So, should that be in the bylaws?
Pardon?
Is that in the bylaws?
No.
No, it's not, that's just something, no, it's not.
It's a legal term.
It's
It's a
illegal.
legal term, that's why I said it as a legal thing. Just for you guys, so you guys know and have it in there in case we have anybody, in any situation we have,
Right,
because I don't even call you.
no,
I just call you and tell you, hey, we have a meeting.
right,
I send you guys the agenda or whatever. I don't, and I don't tell you, well, I'm for it or against it. I can't until we have this meeting.
Yes, sir.
A typical term, Diane, that comes out to the commissioner after ex parte is communication.
X,
So it's ex parte communication, if you all want to look it up.
mm-hmm,
It's
I
not-
gave them the definition.
Right.
yeah,
and so-
we did, thank you.
And so it's all in there.
And I just gave it to you because, like I said, I have gotten calls and
Yes.
stuff asking for your phone numbers and your emails, so
Right.
they could send you stuff, and I said,
Right, it has to be done here.
it has to be done here.
Mr. Chair, question, if we have questions about an exhibit that we need to study for the meeting, and say we don't feel that there's enough information in our packet, is it legal for us to call? Would we have to call you, Maria, or you, Ben, for you to show us the property or show us whatever the situation is? Or could we call the applicant to show us the property?
No,
Neither nor.
neither or. Because I provide as much as information as possible, you know what I mean? And you can call me and say, can you send me a bigger picture of this area, because I don't see it, like a Google map? I can send you that, you know what I mean? But it's already in the packet, so it's just a bigger picture of what, But actually, they're not even, you guys are not, from what I understand, and that came up, another issue that came up is that, or, if you could probably drive down there, but,
Yeah, but if you're not sure specifically of the area, I know, to bring up the past, when I was a councilman, we were able to actually speak with the applicants or speak with the situation and say, hey, can you go show us what you want, what you're thinking of, so that we can educate ourselves more?
Right, but on that one, Commissioner,
That's
You can
what
go
I-
by yourself, but you can't take like them with you.
Right, because then it becomes a
That's an
part.
ex parte there.
Okay.
And like, yeah, and I can't go take you either because that would be considered, and that we learned from the Municipal League Commissioners Training.
Okay, we have digressed from what we're
But I'm glad you brought it up.
supposed to be considering, which is the review and approval of the Board of Adjustment bylaws and rules of procedure. Then we can get into this other situation. Do you want to approve that, or do we want to extend it further, or what's the program?
Mr. Chairman, I was holding on that one. I have not reviewed them. I don't know if everybody else has, I'm sorry, but, so I would move to table until the next meeting.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second
It's made and seconded by Mr. Rivera. You have something you wanted to say, Eugene?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Then we'll take a vote, and does that have to be a voice vote, or,
Voice vote will be good.
okay, call 'em.
Voice?
Oh, a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Me. So the motion passes. I would like to encourage all the council, it's only 6 pages long. It doesn't take 15 minutes to read. And we have been postponing this for months. So I would encourage you, Maria has it on, she can email it to you or whatever the case may be. But we need to get that out of the way. All right. Before we proceed with the second thing on the agenda, I would like for everybody who's going to, yes, sir.
Chairman, I was gonna ask for Lindsay and you all, you can have a work session between you all before you have it again. So if you guys wanna do like a little training on your own, you know what I'm saying? That's something that you all can do on yourselves. You can have like a special work session.
I don't want a training. I can read and I can understand.
You know what I'm saying? If you all wanna be on the same page, that's something that
I
you all.
mean, this is
Oh, I
very
don't mind us not being on the same
They're
page.
not difficult.
All right, let's go on. With regards to the next issue, which is the application submitted by Alejandro and Sharon Rivera for a zone change from M1 to R3, mixed residential zone. All those who plan to give testimony on this, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and the whole truth about this matter? Damn, I forgot.
Bylaws, look on page 4, it tells.
Yeah, I know, but I forgot it. You
No,
promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, we got it. Thank you. Okay. Is Mr. and Miss Rivera here? Okay. Would y'all like to give your presentation again, or do you feel the one time's good enough?
Well, I saw some new faces, I'd like to hear what they have to say, and then we can let them know what our plans are.
So you want to reverse this program?
Oh, well, whatever.
No, it doesn't make me any difference. Then we'll ask those who are opposed to this to present your observations and comments now. Mr. Sires?
So I want to know what we're up against so that I know how to answer, no?
Well, I can tell you what you're up against to a point. Mr. and Ms. Rivera want to change that zoning on that particular piece of property from light manufacturing to a mixed residential zone for the property located at 701 Baker Street, The purpose of the zone change is to sell lots for residential use to allow purchasers to place mobile homes on the property. The last time we were here, just a second. It has been proven that Maria has sent out letters to all of the interested parties, and she has the documentation showing where she has done so. In our packet, it shows people's names and the fact that it was sent by United States Postal Service to the individuals who need to have this. It was also published in the Optic. I don't see what date it was published, but it was published.
April 9th.
When?
April 9th.
April 9th, thank you. Yeah, there it is at the bottom, I'm sorry. And there had, in the last meeting, there was some issues about the size of the lots. And it was, as I understood it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it was they were going to, instead of using one lot, they were going to use two lots to place mobile homes on. And then it was, now if I'm wrong here, y'all correct me, please. It was also brought out that there was concern about water taps, and I believe it was determined that there would be, for the properties involved, there are 5 water taps available. And so they're going to use one structure with 2 lots, which really makes it about, now help me, it makes it, yes ma'am.
5 lots. There will be 5 homes, 5 new.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And I was trying to say that the lot size will be roughly 50 by
150.
thank you, Gene. And we have, at the beginning of this meeting, just prior to us starting, we had a letter that was received at 1:30 p.m. by Maria that was in opposition to the zoning change at 701 Pecos Street. I haven't read this letter personally from top to bottom, but they talk about undesirable effects on the infrastructure. They talk about the road surface has become dilapidated and rarely plowed in the winter. They talk about the fact that the use of heavy equipment that will be required each time a new trailer is brought in. They talk about how this is going to cause interruptions to their daily lives. For instance, when a new resident is getting tied to the existing water lines, the question arises as to whether the utilities will be upgraded, meaning electrical transformers and so forth, and they're concerned about the cost for such upgrades will be passed to the residents of the area. They talk about With new people moving into the trailer park as a result of approval of the proposed zoning change, comes the potential for entry into our neighborhood by citizens who do not feel the laws apply to them. Drug dealers and others who engage in illegal activity are difficult to reason with. They're worried about graffiti and broken bottles under the overpass, and they believe it will have a negative impact on the property values. And then this letter, and I skipped some of it, but I tried to hit the main points. This letter is signed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, by 21 individuals. And,
Actually, there's 2 sets.
pardon?
There's 2 more pages.
Oh, did I miss that?
2 additional amendments.
Well, damn, that's the story of my life. Oh, there's a number of other people, and I'm not gonna count them. But there's a number of people, thank you, Maria, for bringing that to my attention. I just didn't look enough. So, Mr. Size, that's the situation as I see it. Now, to me, it doesn't make any particle of difference as to who goes first. Now, if this was a fist fight, I'd say the one who throws the first blow has a tendency to win. But this isn't a fist fight, and it's just a discussion at this point in time. And so, would you mind proceeding, Mr. Size?
Yes, so he bought the property off of the bank or the owner?
Could I ask you to do me a favor?
Sorry?
Could you come up to this bar here? It's right between Gene and Diane, and I can hear you. Otherwise, I can barely hear you.
Did he buy the property from the bank or from Antonio Ortega or the city?
I have no clue.
If I may
Yes.
say, with all due respect, and con respeto, it doesn't really matter who I bought the property, because it really doesn't have to concern you who I buy or who I don't buy from. And that's with respect, not disrespect to you, sir.
Okay, without disrespect, for a fact, investigate it, no. Because if I would have followed her rule, I wouldn't have been ready for nothing. I wouldn't have known nothing until the last minute. And I didn't know that they could make their bylaws however they want them, no? Because according to the Constitution and the amendments, man, you gotta follow them. But you can't just pop up their bylaws out of the blues. And another thing, you got some of the land's property, which I know that too for a fact. I know he was trying to sell it for $40,000.
Let's see,
I know that you paid $12,000 for it for a little piece of nothing.
with all due respect, is it Mr. Size?
Yes, sir?
That really has no concern whatsoever to you, whether I buy it for $1 or $20.
Well, you do not live in that neighborhood.
No, I do live in that neighborhood, and I live in the 1200 block of Pecos, and I've got properties there, and I keep up
I
with
know
it.
that you got a bunch of
But
properties all over the city.
Whether I have properties here or there has no concern to you or anyone.
So are
This
you-
this is a free enterprise to be able to have upward mobility. The problem that we're addressing here, which is not a problem, this is going to be not a hindrance to you, Mr. Sides. It's going to be a positive situation for you, because what we're trying to do is simply avoiding other industry from coming in. See, these are the things that you're not understanding, or maybe you do understand. See, by me simply, and by my wife simply putting out there that we allow only 5 residents is a blessing, because there's 11 lots. I can petition and I can go forth and I can say, I want to put 11 places. But we choose not to, because we respect the integrity of the elderly, of the, not only the elderly, but the young and all of the individuals that live in this community. See, I have a substance abuse program where we bought chewing gum. We provide services to address and identify the need of the community. That's why we bought that property, to beautify it, to make it better. If you know about history, Las Vegas is known for a lot of stuff that's going on that, you know, dilapidated places. We're looking at graffiti, we're looking at bottles, we're looking at drug addicts. Okay, my dad was a drug addict alcoholic. Okay, he died of a drug overdose. There was nobody out there to give him a place. They were, you know, they ostracized him, but nobody went out there and said, let me help you. Are we ostracizing the drug addicts and the alcoholics from this community when we have them in our own homes? You know, when you put it in the letter there that we're ostracizing drug addicts, look, San Antonio has murals and they're beautiful under the bridge because that's all they've left us. They've left us the bridge so that we can beautify. Now, if we work together, instead of fight each other, you'll get 5 new residents instead of.
I don't need no new residents.
Well, we need to bring industry to this community.
Why don't you go
Let me-
sleep at night,
let
Friday
me-
or Saturday night?
Gentlemen, let me interrupt y'all for a second. Rather than y'all having a private debate, which could get ungainly, I suggest that, Mr. Sires, you give your position as best as you can, and then Mr. Rivera will give his position rather than y'all debating it back and forth.
See,
Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
the water lines stop right in my meter. There ain't no 5 water lines. There's no electricity.
Sir?
The telephone post stops right across my property. From there, it crosses to Commerce, where there's a transformer in the back. I don't know, I don't even think there's any gas lines there. I've been waiting for 25 years to have the sidewalks done. When they did the roads, well, they don't do 700 block. I finally found out that the city installed brand new water lines, but only up to the 800 block. From there on, you got sidewalks, so they pave the road, but on the 700 block, they don't do nothing. There's potholes, and literally, the trees across the street that were on city property, that used to be my wind barrier. And Mr. Rivera, he cleaned it up pretty good, but he left all that brush right close to my home. And the wind always blows mostly west, southwest, or northwest, directly towards my house. So now I gotta keep one of my gates, which is pretty high, pro-panel gate. I gotta keep that lock or it'll take it off the wheels and everything. No, that's how strong the wind gets there now. Every Friday, every Saturday night, they're breaking bottles, they're having a hell of a party. The cops do not cross the tracks at night to go. Oh, they'll pass there during the day, especially now lately they've been passing by. But if there's any shooting or anything, you couldn't get a cop across those tracks no matter what to save your life. And there are dealers, which they leave us alone, I leave them alone. But I sure as heck don't need more drug addicts right across the street. I'm a veteran, disabled veteran, I got PTSD. I have dogs, I have cameras, I have a 7-foot fence. My neighbors, and things, they leave us alone, we leave them alone. But can you imagine nowadays, young kids from 11 years old, they're carrying. The last person that lived across from me, they had a home there, a trailer. And when they were moving it, I lent them a whole set of 3/4-inch sockets. And wow, they took off with it, no? And they start bothering little things. And then if you don't lend them to them or give them $1 for a drink or whatever, they can get pretty violent. So who am I supposed to turn to, and what am I supposed to do if I have to shoot somebody or somebody shoots me? just because he installs his trailers there. And more or less, that's my case, no? But it's like a little community. It's been a rough neighborhood. And so far, they haven't bothered my dogs, my vehicles. They don't tag me. But go under the bridge, and from there on, you can see for yourself. Go to the 1200 block to where Mr. Rivera has trailers. And see how beautiful he beautified with 3 or 4 trailers in one lot or whatever, no? And I got a feeling, I don't know the man. He's probably a good person. But I'm just against drug dealers, that's all there is. And druggies, I can tell you because I have them on both sides of the family. My wife's side, my side. One of my nieces is here and buried in West Mesa. So I know all about druggies. They run in the families, no? And I feel sorry for them, they need help. Mr. Rivera has enough money to buy any yard, any property he wants. Why doesn't he make a small community for them where they can enjoy themselves and be away from decent citizens and all that? I used to be an alcoholic myself. It's hard to break a habit. But here I am, I'm getting old. And I can't put up with stuff like that. I really can't. But I'll give the...
Thank you, Mr.
All right.
Size.
Thank you, Mr. Size. Mr. Rivera, please.
May I present?
Yes, sir, please.
Mr. Size, thank you very much for sharing how you feel deeply.
Well, I know it.
I sincerely appreciate where he's coming from because he definitely wants to live in harmony. I get it. I get it. You know, these are the pillar of our community, the elderly. This is the wisdom of our community. But the wisdom of our community has to also address and identify individuals such as ourselves that are trying to beautify it. See, if you look at Chicano Park in California, okay, eminent domain came in and it took all the residents and they put industrial. The only thing they left was portions to where people had to come together and make something beautiful out of it. Well, Mr. Size, I can't do this by myself, Mrs. Size. I need your support and I need your help so that we can beautify that particular area because there is a lot of stuff that's going on in there. There's a lot of broken bottles, there's a lot of drugs, but these are the people that are our family that we need to help. We need to help these people. My dad died of a drug overdose, and 3 months after that, an uncle, 3 months after that, another uncle, because there was everybody saying they're drug addicts and they're alcoholics and they're bad people. My dad was a drug addict, alcoholic, but he was an honest, hard-working man. Okay? But they gave him the stigma. And that's not what we want to do. We want to provide an opportunity for 5 dwellings, not 11, and to avoid industry and coming and destroying what you guys have made. Now, it is, what is it? I believe an M2, Maria, ¿verdad? M1. An M1, you can bring a lot of different types of industries that is going to create more havoc on the roads, more havoc on people coming in there. If they place a mobile home, it's only 5 times that they're going to move it to there. But if you get an industry that goes there, there's thousands of times that it's going to go through those streets. Now, you're not going to incur any type of money to upgrade the water, nor to upgrade the gas, nor to upgrade the electrical, because that is on the individuals that buy the property. So there's a lot of things that Mr. Size is saying that is incorrect. What it's going to do, it's going to give you an opportunity not to have a 7-foot fence, but perhaps have a 4-foot or a 5-foot fence to where you could see your neighbor. so that we can be in harmony with each other, not hide from each other. I do respect, and I say sincerely, you know, you have PTSD, I get it. I have PTSD. I know how hard it is. You know, when you have to hide and you have to put a 7-foot fence. Well, you are. You have a 7-foot fence that is not in accordance to the.
Mr. Rivera.
No.
Let Mr. Rivera go on, and then you can give your piece.
You have to give your presentation to the.
I'm kind of trying to capture the audience, you know what I mean? My apologies. But it's a 7-foot fence that's not in accordance with what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, I think, 4 or 5 feet in the front, 6 feet in the. So I understand where he's coming from. He's protecting himself. And that's what we're here to do, is for him not to feel inferior, that he has to protect himself from everybody. We have to make this community great. And the only way we're going to make it great is if we work together. We're only asking for 5 places. We're not asking for anything more. That's all we're asking for. You know, with an M1, with all due respect, if I may ask Mr. Maynes, what can you place on an M1 so that they're educated?
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. But the M1, and that's one term that we haven't been using here tonight, and that's permitted uses. So permitted uses in M1s is a long list: animal hospitals, vets, kennels, animal shelters. There's different things, recycling centers. They can open up like a recycling center for brass, copper, non-ferrous materials. They can do automatic screw machines, bakery goods, battery manufacturing, blacksmith shops, body and vendor shops, bottling plants, building materials, storage yards, cabinets and carpenter shops, candy manufacturing, dairy products. So it's a manufacturing zone. Food products, garments manufacturing, feed and fuel, machine and metal shops, plumbing contractor yards, repair garages for automobiles, rubber, metal stamp manufacturing, monumental work, service industries such as carpet and rug cleaning plants, transportation equipment yards, tire retreading, recapping and rebuilding, trailer sales, rental service, railroad tracks and yards, signs, and same conditions as in a C3 zone. Transfer stations and intermediate destination structure and operation designed for the purpose of receiving refuse, separating recyclables, kind of like a recycle plant you can have there too. So those are some of the permitted uses. Some requiring special use permit are borrow pits and quarries, heliports, nurseries, open air theaters, private schools, public buildings, public utilities, radio and television transmitters, a shooting range.
A shooting range.
Single-family dwelling.
We've already got that.
So that's M1s. Those are the permitted uses for M1s. I have for the R3s, but you asked me for the M1s.
Yes, sir. And thank you very much for enlightening us and giving us that opportunity to share with the sizes as to what can actually be placed there. So this behooves you.
I would rather have any of those instead of that.
Well, see, you're
And
going.
the reason for the fence is because I had a timber wolf, 70% timber and 30% melody, so that he wouldn't
Okay.
jump out of the fence.
Let Mr. Rivera go on.
So these are the uses for that particular place. Well, me and my wife are trying to do is to avoid from bringing that kind of an industry. I mean, the neighbors aren't going to really want a kennel there, dogs barking all night long. You know what I mean? What we're trying to do is improve the community, not to put it in a hindrance to anyone. Not only that, but if you look at, okay, we have Chicano Park in California. Look at how beautiful they did with the bridges. Okay? Not only that, but in San Antonio, look at all the art and all the beauty that came with it. Not only are they fixing that, but if we give the youth an opportunity to use their artistic talents to be able to do art under the bridge, they're not going to go and deface it. I've already proved that when we did that under the bridge there at by the recycling center and right across from Shilling Law. It is now called Amistad y Resolana. It's a substance abuse program. But they don't come and they don't destroy. So we got to give purpose to our youth. We have to give purpose to individuals as a community. We have to give purpose to Mr. Saiz and his wife so that they can be part of it. You know, I asked them to be part of this. I want you guys to be part of it so that you can help build Las Vegas, so we can build this community beautiful, so we can do something together. You know, so I invite you to embark in this.
Look at all the empty homes already, and you think
So
that
I
it's
ask,
built up.
I ask that we come together and not fight each other. Let's work with each other. Let's make the community beautiful. Because mira, when Amtrak passes through there, sometimes they go fast, sometimes they go slow. What do they see? Las Vegas is not a place to come into because of that one particular venue. So if it looks bad there, it looks bad everywhere. So they're not gonna come. So what I wanna do is I wanna do murals. So that when Amtrak passes and the passengers see, they see how beautiful that is. That's maybe a place that I'd like to stop and shop and be part of. Maybe we'll have other people wanna move to Las Vegas and make it great again. Because how many people have we lost? How many of our youth have we lost already? They're in Rio Rancho, they've made Rio Rancho. Our kids are graduating from Highlands and from Luna Community College only to leave us. So our history is leaving the community because we are being ignorant and stubborn. We need to come together as a community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Saiz, you have anything you want to say?
If he wants to make it beautiful, why doesn't he put real nice billboards where he can draw his murals? He can buy all the properties he wants at Untitled Chapter if he wants, and put big billboards, fluorescent lights or whatnot with his murals and all that, where the people that cross by on the train can see how beautiful he can make murals, and maybe that way he can welcome the people into Vegas, because there's, I don't know how many hundreds of homes already are empty, real nice homes all over town. So put my trailers just across where I know that there's gonna be mix-ups in the near future. It might not be in the first couple of months or something, but once they settle in, they wanna borrow this, they wanna do this, and then they start getting aggressive. And if I would get hurt or I have to hurt somebody, who am I gonna turn to and who do I blame? And that's it.
Ms. Rivera, you have anything you'd like to say?
Oh, for the fence, it's because I always had big car jumps so that they can't jump the fence.
I would just like to say, I think we're jumping ahead of ourselves. These properties haven't even been sold yet, and to just say that that's all that's gonna move in there is alcoholics, drug addicts, problems, we're getting ahead of ourselves, you know, there's plenty of people.
Mr. Crowe,
Yes, sir.
she has to introduce herself and
Oh,
you have to get her name.
I'm Sharon Rivera. So that's why I just want to say, you know, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves talking about alcoholics, drug addicts, just moving in there. That's not the only area that you see that kind of stuff. I would like to personally be painting those pillars until we can get some maybe murals, but I know we have to get approval from the city for that. So that's really all I want to say.
Okay. Thank you for your time, ma'am.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Saiz, please come up to the podium. Come up to the podium so we can hear you. I'm hard of hearing.
I'm not
especially with
the
this-
only one that
Especially with
feels
the
like that.
stupid mask on.
I'm not the only one that feels like that. There's like 40, 50 signatures on that, and I could have gotten a lot more. But it sprung on me all of a sudden, no. So I had to do whatever me and my other neighbors. And then since the meeting is today at 4 o'clock, there's a lot of people working that couldn't even come. So I decided well, I wasn't gonna miss it, no. I thought there would be a lot more people here. But the ones I phoned now the last, they're either at the doctor's appointments or they're working until 6 or 12. And to begin with, there ain't that many jobs here in Vegas. You live here, and all of you live here in Vegas. You know this town is going down. People are trying to bring it back up on bridge and railroad. They're not getting very far. This is gonna be a ghost town in another 10 years. And may God help us all. That's all I can say. Thank you, all of you, even you, Mr. Rivera.
Yes, sir, Mr. Suggs.
I hear Mr. Size saying two things, you know what I mean? And it's hard for me to understand in one particular, he's saying, you know, Las Vegas doesn't have any people. The reason we don't have any people is because we don't create opportunity for them. They're getting educated and they're leaving. You know, our own kids, our history, everything's leaving this community. The only way we're gonna get our people back is if we start fixing the houses that are all over the place. You know, but who's buying them? You know, I want these properties for local individuals so that they can have some sense of feeling entitlement. But, you know, people are buying these places that are retired from California and all these other places, and where's our community going? You know, it is going to be a ghost town if we don't start figuring out how we can identify the problem by retaining our own people here. You know, we got to keep our people here, but we gotta make something happen. We got to beautify our place first. Now, Mr. Minus, I believe, said, you know, put a kennel there. You know what I mean? So, if we don't get approved, we could put a kennel, we could put a lot of different things that is not going to be conducive to the families that are living there. You know, they got to see the point. We're trying to keep it down to a minimum of 5 residents versus bringing in another industry that could go somewhere else, but to bring families to because they've always looked down on Pecos and on railroad. You know, they've looked down on it. We need to uplift it. We need to make it beautiful, people.
Thank you, sir. All right, would any members of the board like to say something? Yes, sir.
I have a question for Mr. Minus. Mr. Minus, what constitutes a mobile home park? Because, you know, I'm reading this for a zone change to an R3, which would be for properties, you know, to separate properties and be able to put a mobile home or a stick-built home. And both letters of protest state that they don't want a mobile home park in their area.
Thank you, Commissioner Romero. What we have before you is a permitted, we have 2 permitted uses. We have M1 and R3. The request is for a change from M1 to R3, and the permitted uses, just like the M1, you have the permitted uses, Chairman Crow, and that's the list that I read on the M1s. The same permitted uses are for R3 multi-residential. You're a planning and zoning board, so this has to deal with zoning. So the permitted uses in the R3 are single-family dwellings. The request for this zone change isn't for mobile home park. It's just for permitted uses in the R3. They can put in single-family dwellings, public parks and playgrounds, duplexes and triplexes, mobile homes, they can bring mobile homes if they want, storage of recreational vehicles, travel trailers, truck and campers, they can have accessory uses, home occupations, bed and breakfast, family child care home with a minimum of 5 but not more than 12. So the permitted uses in the R3 also have special use permits, which are, they can put in a hospital, permitted use, fraternal organizational club, public private schools or colleges, public utilities, churches, dwellings, art galleries, child care centers. So the R3s are also pretty extensive permitted uses. The request is not for mobile home park. Did you want me to keep reading the rest?
Do what, sir?
Did you want me to keep reading the rest of
I
permitted
don't
uses?
think that's necessary.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
Do you have a question?
I have a question actually for Mr. Rivera.
okay.
Mr. Rivera, when you state that you want a zone change to place, or to have, or to divide it, or subtract the amount of lots from 11 to 5, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there is no plans of putting any more than 5 on that property?
No, sir. The idea is to minimize what can actually go there so that they can have a safe environment still there. Because whoever buys it is going to do whatever they choose to do with it. It's under my possession and my wife's possession to keep it to where it's harmoniously positive to the size.
So then I have another question, Mr.
Yes,
Chair. If the case being that it's gonna be changed from 11 lots to 5 lots in a zone change, I have a question for Mr. Minus and Ms. Maria. And actually also for you, Mr. Chair. Is it possible that it can be stipulated that no more than 5 lots can be sold in that
We
property?
could stipulate that in the ordinance if it is, when we do the ordinance.
Okay.
But there's only 5 water taps available.
There's 11 lots.
There's 11 lots, but there's only 5 water taps available.
Where? So they allow, Mr. Chair, Maria and Ben, there's only allowed 5 taps on that property?
That's all Mr. Rivera is asking for, but, well, he's not asking for them, but that's what they're planning to do.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that it can't change, right? If we were to.
It might go lower than that, like Mrs. Rivera stated last meeting.
But my question being,
No
if-
more than 5 is what he's asking for.
that's not my question is this. If there's 11 lots and we change it from M1 to R3, and Mr. Rivera decides to say, oh no, well, I want to sell 8 lots instead of 5, he can actually go to utilities and say, I want 3 more water taps. He can request 3 more.
Actually, no,
And then why is that?
because if he sells 1 lot at a time, they do not meet the 5,000 square foot requirement for an R3.
But if-
That's why he's doing the 2 lots at a time.
But if there's 11 lots, he could sell a lot and a half, and it would meet the egress.
Probably not.
Okay, so.
Because then he'd have to go through a whole different scenario. If he's going to sell, let's say, a lot and a half,
Mhm.
he's going to have to go through a surveyor and get a lot line adjustment.
Okay,
And they have to meet the 5,000 square feet size requirements.
Understood, but and again, the biggest question I have is whether he can get more taps if he wanted to. And Mr. Rivera, hold on 1 second, please.
He probably could,
Okay,
but
and
he does not want to.
at this point. And point being, if we're gonna move forward with this, I wanna get all the scenarios so that I can make an educated decision. And the scenario being, if we're going to possibly vote to pass this thing or not pass it, whatever it is, if it is to pass it, I wanna see if there's a way to put a stipulation that not more than 5 lots can be sold. Because otherwise, if you put more
Well,
than.
see, that's the thing.
Maria, excuse me. If you put more than 5 lots on that, if you sell more than 5 lots, and you divide them correctly, and if Mr. Rivera has as much money as Mr. Sai says Mr. Rivera has, well, then he can go and he can get a surveyor and go over there and make sure that, get every inch of property to make 5,000 square foot lots, which would still pass, and he could get more than 5 lots out of those 11.
Let me,
As per the measurements that I looked at anyway.
may I interject?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
You know,
Mr. Crowe,
he's
I have a
absolutely
question, if I may.
correct. He's absolutely correct that we could get more, but we choose not to. And we're willing to put it in writing Because the whole purpose is to have autonomy for all the neighbors and for the people that are coming on board to buy those properties. So I don't have a problem indicating there, that that's what our wishes are intended for. See, later on, Mr. Size and Mrs. Size are gonna be grateful that we're doing this. Because I could turn around and sell that property because I have a lot of money. I could turn around and sell that property for Google bucks. Because somebody can come in there and make something really big out of it. And that's what I don't want. That's what I'm avoiding by tying him up like this.
Mr. Coker?
If I may answer Mr.
Please.
Romero's question. I believe you asked how many trailers it takes to be called a trailer park. And I believe, being a mobile home park owner myself, I believe you can have up to 3 before it's considered a mobile home park, providing it's owned by the one person. In other words, I can have 3 trailers, and I own the lots, and I own the trailers, and it's not considered a trailer park. But if I want another one, then it would come under a different heading, which would be a trailer park. Am I correct, Mr. Minus?
I'm pretty sure it is.
As long as it's different owners, it's not a trailer park.
Just a little, Commissioner, just a little history. The area where north of this proposed zone change, it used to be an M1 too. And they sold 2 lots at a time. And so just to show you the exhibit, this used to be M1, now it's R3. This is our M1 right now, and they want to convert it to this, really. So this is what it used to be. This used to be an M1, just like this one, but they made a zone change, and they combined lots in the top 2. So this used to be like this, and then this is similar to what this gentleman is. Just to let you know that the history of that whole parcel of land, it used to be M1, and they got converted to R3, and they split the lots too. Now, if Mr. Alejandro Rivera wants to re-subdivide, similar to something that Mr. Romero is bringing up, re-subdivision rules are different. If he wants to combine lots and sell lot 9 and 10 together, that's his prerogative. If he wants to re-subdivide, then the subdivision rules come into play. But if he wants to just sell lot 9 and 10 together to me, and the legal description says lots 9 and 10 are being sold together, they already have their meets and bounds description. If he wants to redesign the area, then he'd fall under the re-subdivision or subdivision rules and laws of the state. He's not asking to re-subdivide. He's asking for a zone change. And I think that we're getting ahead of ourselves, because all this is a zone change from an M1 to an R3. The permitted uses are just different, that's all.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I have another question.
Yes, sir.
Ben?
Yes.
So if it goes from an M1 to an R3, if I remember correctly, when I was on the council, we were trying to stop spot zoning.
Mhm.
So that would pretty much put everything in that area in the same zone.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, go ahead, ma'am.
Just a second, please. Yes, sir.
Do you want me to step on top? Did you have any questions?
Go ahead.
I've got a question for Maria. Does that 5,000 square foot rule apply to a single wide or a double wide?
They could put a single wide, and that's just the property. It has to be over 5,000 square feet, okay? And they can put a single wide mobile home in there in the R3. They can put a double wide in there if they want to, or they can build a site-built home. But only one home.
On those 2 lots.
In other words, if there's going to be 5 duplexes there, it's going to be pretty crowded, isn't it?
No, but 5 duplexes or 5 double wides?
5 double wides.
They're the same as a
Not
single family dwelling.
necessarily.
We can't zone them out. It's illegal.
Double wides are usually about 28 feet wide.
Right.
So they, right now, if they put that in a 50-foot wide lot, they actually have quite a bit of space between.
As long as you have the setbacks. Yeah, the setbacks, you gotta have 15 feet front and 15 feet back.
And they're big enough. They're big enough to meet the 15 feet back,
Okay.
front, and the 5 feet on the sides.
Yeah.
Because they're 50 feet wide. If, the way he's trying to sell them, they're 50 feet wide. Once in a while, you'll see a triple wide, which is what? 32 by like 60? I think it's 12, 12, and 12, it is 36. You'll find one. But usually, most people can't afford those. Those are expensive, because we looked at one. And, but like a double wides, most of them are like 28 wide
Yes.
by, they can be 54 feet wide, long, 54, 60, or longer, as big
Yeah,
as they
some
want
of them are
it.
pretty
But
long.
most of those are 28 wide, so they will meet the setbacks, and usually they don't face them this way, facing railroad, they'll face them the other way. So they can meet the 15 feet and the sides and still have enough space. Because 28 by 50 is, I don't have my,
What was that?
if you subtract 28 from the
Just
50,
multiply
you still
28
have like
times.
32 or
Yeah.
22 feet.
22 feet. You're just
So
talking-
you have plenty of space on the sides.
Well, thank you, that answers my question.
Mr. Rivera?
If I may borrow Mr. Minus's diagram of where the, yeah, that one.
This one, yeah.
Oh, it's okay. See, it was fair for these individuals to have upward mobility to put double wides, so why shouldn't it be fair for us to make something positive for the community? You know, here you have these lots all gonna be in the same zone. It's not gonna be spot zone, but yet, why would it be fair for only a partial of these individuals to say, okay, I'm going before the planning and zoning and change it, and I'm gonna put my mobile home there? So why isn't it going to be fair for the people that are gonna buy these? You know, it can't be just one way. You know, we have to make it, we gotta make it to where it benefits everybody.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Minus,
Yes.
I can't remember where the mobile home parks are, which zone it would be. Would it be R?
It's all three. It's a permitted use in this zone.
Oh, it is
But
permitted.
he's not applying for a mobile home park.
Correct, correct, I
It has to
know.
be over an acre.
It has to be over an acre, and there is not over an acre there, correct?
No. It
Okay,
just
so
falls about,
what if he were to apply for an R2? Would that give him the same leeway?
the only difference between an R2 and an R3 is that in the R3, single wide mobile homes are allowed. In the R2, they're not.
They're not allowed.
Only double wides are allowed.
And R1.
Double wides are still built homes.
And R1 would be
The
not a
same
benefit,
thing.
wouldn't be a benefit either.
And then the way he wants to sell them, the way, that map that I have, that we were it's just an estimate because, the R2 is 7,000 square feet.
Okay.
And not any of them except for lots 7 and 8, and 9, 10, and 11 meet the R1
I
requirements.
see.
That's why we did them.
Mhm. I have a question for Mr. Rivera. Is Alma Gordos Road, like around the corner there, or where is?
Alamo Gordos Road is off Cinder Road. It's up there by Cunningham Road going to a state hospital. Yeah, Los Alamo Gordos Road has nothing to do with
Well,
Pecos.
okay, my question is, are you going to move to the Pecos area, or do you, because I noticed that your address was Alma Gordos Road.
That's where we reside.
Oh, so you don't live on Pecos
No, ma'am.
and don't plan on it?
No.
Oh, I see, okay.
But my sister, my brothers, and family members do live there. And I was fortunate enough to actually get him those properties and rezone it for that purpose as well. And so my mother's passed since, and my sister acquired the double wide, and my brothers have some single wides there. So I've been blessed to be able to have helped my family reach some type of upward mobility, because we came from a trailer court. We came from nothing. And a lot of people may think I have money. I don't have no money. All I have is a strong back and a good mind.
So help me understand why you mentioned that you lived in Pecos. Or you had, maybe you said you had property.
We used to live in Pecos. That's where we started our family. Yeah. We started our family on 1203 Pecos. That's where our kids were born. And the beautiful thing of upward mobility is that you can move and buy a new house. You know, after hard work. You know, most of us know what hard work is all about. So, you know, there ain't no crime from leaving a mobile home to moving into a home.
Mr. Sides?
Okay, I understand what he's trying to do. Got a friend, owns a trailer court. His name is Joey Rivera. He lives in between Pecos and Commerce. Gene really knows what I'm talking about. They moved into that trailer court, people from uptown and all that. Now that section is nothing but a gang-related, infested neighborhood. Even other people that live there on Commerce, they said they're trying to get ripped out because, well, the owner of that trailer court told me that he can't get them out because of the virus. They're not paying him rent. They're fighting with one another. They're selling drugs. And it's a big commotion. They're from the 1200 block. You probably know since you were from there. And it can spread farther down. And if it spreads farther down to my location, then I'm one hell of a mess, no?
I guess I don't understand. But ask me a question.
And the thing is that I would probably put up with a dog pound better across the street than endangering my life or endangering whoever people live there. And I wonder if they know, you set a trailer right under that bridge, you're gonna hear the trucks, the cars, the train, and then they're gonna regret that they bought there, no? I don't hear the train because I soundproof the bedroom or the trucks, no, but go outside, man, and it's a big racket. And then our safety, the police do not patrol that neighborhood at night, only during the day, Mr. Rivera.
Well, that's,
When they had, there was a shooting, they were going around Railroad, Pecos, Commerce. Called them, I have a scanner. One told the other policeman, you take Railroad, I'll take Pecos and Commerce. Do you think they went? Heck no, man. In that little neighborhood that we have to protect one another. We have to combine ourselves. Because we cannot depend on the law. That's all there is to it. I'm sorry, and this, the city's going from what, 33,000 down to what, about 12,000 already?
I just want to say something.
So I don't see it growing.
Okay, just a minute. Mr. Coca?
Mr. Chairman, I believe we've heard enough pros and cons, and I would make a motion that we take a vote and make a decision.
That's fine. You don't have to make the motion to do that. However, we do need a motion, one way or the other, so we can resolve this issue. Unless there's a tie, I'm not voting. If there's a tie, I will vote.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to approve the zone change with a stipulation that no more than 5 lots can be sold on that property.
Very well. Is there, everybody heard that, I presume? Mr. Romero makes a motion that the zone change be approved with the stipulation that no more than 5 lots?
No, not 5 lots, 5 homes.
5 homes can be placed on that property.
5 homes.
Is there a second to that motion?
But I don't think that he amended it.
Pardon, sir?
I don't think that Mr. Romero amended his motion.
I amend the motion to say, I make a motion to approve the zone change with no more than 5 homes being able to be placed on
On the property.
On the property.
Right, that's his motion. Again, is there a second? Okay, the motion dies for lack of a second. Do I hear another motion?
I would like to ask Maria a question, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
Maria, is there something in the law or in the ordinance that says only a certain amount of water taps are available? Or,
The only moratorium I have is for water taps outside of city limits,
not within the,
not within city.
so that takes care of that?
Yeah, no, there is no moratorium. They cannot deny anybody a water tap within city
That's-
limits.
that's
As
fine.
long as they pay for it.
Yeah.
It's outside of city limits that they have that moratorium
Right.
Thank you
until
for
further
clarifying.
notice.
Thank you for clarifying that, Maria.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
seems like we're kind of stuck.
Pardon?
We're kind of stuck right at the moment. I think Mr. Romero's motion is a good one, but I'm really concerned about all these people that are protesting it, and I don't know exactly how to balance that in my mind.
That's just something you're gonna have, and I'm not meaning just any disrespect at all, but that's just something you're gonna have to take in consideration with your thinking. And,
Could we have a little discussion here a bit of the 5 of us?
can we?
Like a closed session?
Just to
Can we?
talk, just to kind of
I have a
work it out.
question
Wait a minute.
in regards
Yes,
to that.
ma'am.
You mentioned, I don't know, there was what, 20-something individuals, or I don't know how many people signed?
40.
40 people, but in that neighborhood, there's not even that many dwellings to 100 feet away. I don't know who could have signed that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to go into closed session.
Do what, sir?
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Yeah. Can we do that,
That's
Ben?
what
We need
Ms.
to call for a
Lynch said.
second, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, you can call for a second.
Before you go into session.
Mr. Chairman, there's a
Okay.
motion on the floor, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I'd like to-
Is there a second?
Second it.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. We're gonna go into closed session. If the,
Just the video takers to cut off for closed session monitoring.
that'll be fine, sir.
Yes,
So I think, do we need to leave too?
yes. Right. Just the.
Mr. Size, if you'll excuse yourself.
Let me see.
If they need to try to do it, then they could call us.
Gene?
Yes, sir.
In all the years I've been on this, we've never done this. That's why
That was Diane's suggestion.
I know, I'm just saying I've never done it, to my knowledge.
Gee, Since we're
Okay.
more than 6 feet apart, can I take this off?
Yes, and I'd like to
Yeah,
get mine out.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just,
Hold on 1 second, I think.
Let him turn off the
oh,
cameras.
sure.
Okay, I'll be right back.
back on.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, we've had discussion, and I think
Mr. Chair,
Sure.
I believe you need to say that the meeting is now
Called back to order. Thank you, Gene.
Maria back in?
We'll wait for you. Thank you, Gene.
Sure.
All right, this meeting is called back to order and we will continue with our work.
Do we have to make a motion to come back into
I believe
regular
so.
session or something?
I
Yes.
believe so.
We're
Oh, you already
starting.
did? Okay.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move we resume our meeting, or call the meeting to order.
Okay.
Again.
All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Okay. Is there another motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
again, I'd like to make the motion to approve the zone change with the stipulation that no more than 5 homes can be put on that property.
Very well. Everybody heard it and understood that motion? Is there a second to that motion?
I second that.
Ms. Lindsay seconds that motion. I don't believe we need any more discussion. We've had all the discussion we need. All those in favor, oh, you have to have it roll call. I'm sorry.
Roll call, Eugene Romero,
Yes.
Manny Varela,
No.
Joe Coca,
Yes.
Diane Lindsay.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes as offered. And there you go.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chair.
Yes, motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I second.
Mr. Barella seconds. All, we can do a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes.
So you all can exit that door because we closed the front doors already. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Adios. Thank you, Mr. Price.